Dear old work platform, it's not you, it's us. Actually, it is you. Endless onboarding? Constant IT bottlenecks? We've had enough. We need a platform that just gets us. And to be honest, we've met someone new. They're called Monday.com, and it was love at first onboarding. Their beautiful dashboards, their customizable workflows got us floating on a digital cloud 9. So no hard feelings, but we're moving on. Monday.com, the first work platform you'll love to use.
Welcome to the RuPaul's Drag Race Recap Show for Season 17, Episode 9, titled Heavens to Betsey. My name is Joe Batanz, and I am joined, as always, by one consummate co-host. From the podcast Bravo, Bravo, effing Bravo, please say...
What about you, butthole?
To Mr. Nathan Patrick Brown. Hello, Nathan.
Hey, Joe.
I have to apologize. There's something ironic about me last week saying, last week I forgot to put it in.
Did you forget again?
But I will say the public feed will have no idea what I'm talking about because the public feed gets the clip zero every single time. And it's sitting right here in front of me. I see it on my desktop. It's already pulled. I just have to remember when... I just remember when I edit the show that, to put it in. I just remember.
Okay.
Anyway, by the way, so there's a real Just Between Us Girls and then there's a fake Just Between Us Girls. Let's talk about the fake Just Between Us Girls, which Nathan and I record days before we record the episode just because of scheduling. Really good this week. It was a really good Just Between Us Girls. It went really, really long.
Yes. How's your foot?
It's funny that you say that. So we talked about my foot on there. So I got a very expensive brace that arrived, I think, the day after we spoke.
Yeah.
It has solved all the problems.
Oh, great.
I went to Disneyland with the Johns on Saturday. And look, in a span of like 3 hours, I walked 12,000 steps. So like it was, here's what's weird. This is such old man talk right now. My foot, you can tell, was really misaligned because the foot was fine, but my hip was hurting a tiny bit. And I read that could be because my body had adjusted to my misaligned foot. And so now that everything's in correct alignment, my body has to readjust.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no, it wasn't my hip. Sorry, it wasn't my hip. It was my knee. Sorry. Not my hip. It was my knee. My knee was bothering a little bit, just a little bit, not like crazy old lady aunt way. And then, then today I worked an entire shift. 0 problems, 0 pain, 0 fatigue. Perfect.
You've cracked the code. I'm so happy.
Crack something. Anyway, if you want to hear, we had foot talk. And then we talked about other things too. And I promised it was more interesting. I've just made a promise not to talk about this topic anymore, but it was discussed on Just Between Us Girls. And Nathan talked about his play. It was actually a really good. I think people might think it wasn't very good because we just said, I talked about my foot. But that was just really more a funny story about my trip about my foot, not really about my foot. Let's get through all these little afterthought plugs because we have a lot to get through. One, if you want to hear Just Between Us Girls, there's a few ways that you can hear it. A, you can hear it on patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia at the executive tier level and above. B, on Apple Podcasts. If you subscribe right there, I want to address this again. We got a letter from Finland about this. C, you could go to patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia, go to collections and find Just Between Us Girls. And you can pay a one-time fee. You could buy it per episode. You can do all kinds of things, right? D, starting now, it started Saturday, there will be 3 free episodes a week over at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia for everybody. You don't even necessarily have to follow us, even though it'd be easier if you follow us because then you'll get alerted. But 3 free episodes of content. You just have to go to patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia or get the Patreon app and you are going to get 3 pieces of free afterthought content every week. But and it's not going to cost you any money. It's completely free. Thank you.
So wait, what's the thing about Finland?
Oh, yeah. Let me pull that up. Where's my email? I got an email, and it'll explain things. This is for the public feed. Okay. Hi, Joe. Greetings. Oh, and the email address is you, too. Greetings all the way from Finland, Northern Europe. Thank you for the show, which I absolutely love and have been listening to for years. I recently subscribed to it on Apple and immediately got access to the full Snatch Game recap. For some reason, though, this week's recap was only the shorter free version, even though I am in the subscriber version according to Apple. Have I forgotten to do something? I have also not seen any other new episodes being available like Rulaska Thoughts. Can you help me solve the mystery? I will solve it now for the public feed. I addressed this on a previous episode, but Apple makes me do 500,000 different steps to publish an episode, okay, on Apple Podcasts. And that last step, you have to wait like 20 to 30 minutes. And again, because, okay, so I think what I should preface is, because this is the answer for everything. As Nathan knows, as people at Patreon know, we had a death in my family that we were on death watch Sunday night last week. And so my head wasn't really in the game. I tried my best, and I think I did an okay job. But my head really wasn't in the game last Sunday. So as a result, when I published the episode, I just forgot to go back and hit publish, which is you have to do on Apple, what no other service makes you do. And then also, Robert and I canceled Rulaska Thoughts. He had something going on, and then I had to deal with this death in the family. And so there was just no Rulaska Thoughts. We explained it on Patreon, but just not to the public feed. Anyway, so now they go, so that's it. And then I explained, but now everything's available. I fixed the problem. That previous episode's available, and this one will be available as well. Okay, so now she goes on. Thanks once more, and please bring Lori on all the shows possible. She is the best. I'm kind of thinking this was written by Lori.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. Because okay, listen. We all love Lori. I'm going to say 2 things. If you're subscribed on Apple Podcasts and you love Lori, you're subscribed on the wrong thing. You should be subscribed on Patreon.
Yeah.
You know? Because there's a ton of Lori content on Patreon. Or you should be listening to The Tea, which there's a new episode on the public feed this week. Everyone should listen to that. But there's no recap fan who loves Lori. Let's be honest.
I mean, I think she's funny with the no drag knowledge mouth. Whenever she, says the wrong name, or completely misremembers things, I think it's funny.
I do like Nathan, but
well, here it comes.
I think you have ruined him.
Oh,
he used to be so happy and excited about the episodes, and now he is jaded and bitter, just like the rest of us. All the best. And then she says her name.
Yeah, I don't know if it's your fault. I just don't think the show's as good as it ever was.
No, it's not. I'm not going to even blame the show. I remember when Christian and Robert first started doing Bring It to the Runway, I would warn them. I warn everybody. The worst thing you can do as a fan of RuPaul's Drag Race, is do a recap of RuPaul's Drag Race. It forces you to watch the show in a different way, on a different level, that makes you hate the show. And, when Robert and Christian swore this wouldn't happen, I think when Robert hears this, he'll say, look, I don't hate the show, but I don't think he likes it as much as he used to.
Yeah.
Christian is oblivious to the world, so I don't know if it really affected him. So, so that's what the thing is. But now there was a time, I've talked about this before, and actually Robert gets sick of me saying this. There was a time when I did hate the show. There was a year or 2 stretch. Now it's dead to me. but believe it or not, I think it is the best thing for the show. Believe it or not. I literally think it's the best thing for the show, because now I don't have like I said, I can be like an umpire. Like I don't have favorites. I watch the show as a purely objective person.
Mm-hmm.
And I take every episode as it is. And I just want to make a really funny show about RuPaul's Drag Race. But it's not like I don't hate anybody super. Well, there are certain people that I hate, but it's more likely I'll hate someone, but I don't really have a great love for anybody. It's very unusual. And on that note, do you still love anybody, Nathan?
Not this season. Like, I was thinking the other day, I was like, who, if like they're like on a tour and they're coming down under, like who out of this season's queens do I want to see? And I don't know. Maybe Sam Starr is like my favorite at the moment, but I'm not feeling very passionate about any of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what I was going to say, I should address this. I said it earlier before we take a break. The reason I said there's a fake just between the girls and a real just between us girls is Nathan and I talked for about 15 minutes before the show started in an unrecorded real just between us girls. It was really the actual like us.
And I'm passionate about that.
Yeah. Us spilling tea and just being good Judies and having a conversation. On that note, we are going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into the episode. We'll be back right after this. It's a new year. It's 2025, and I'm sure all of us are focused on weight loss. And if you're focused on weight loss, and if you want to spend the new year in complete control of that weight loss by losing up to an average of 9 pounds in your first month, you got to check out hers, because everything I just told you is based on data that was reported by hers customers. Hers is transforming women's healthcare. How? It's providing access to affordable weight loss treatment plans delivered straight to your door if you get prescribed. Here's what they do. They offer a holistic weight loss program with personalized solutions, and these include GLP-1 weekly injections. It's the same active ingredient as Ozempic and Wegovy or any other oral medication kits. Now, what happens is after you submit an online intake form, a licensed medical provider will determine what plan is best for you. If it's prescribed, your program includes medication, ongoing care, and online support, all at one low cost. Listen, weight loss plans are way more affordable straight through hers, with compounded GLP-1 injections starting at $165 per month, with a 12-month plan paid up front for new subscribers. No hidden fees and no membership fees. So, if you've been struggling, as many of us have been with your weight loss journey, it's time you find the best option that works for you through hers. Start your initial free online visit today at forhers.com/crime. That's forhers.com/crime for your personalized weight loss treatment options. forhers.com/crime. Hers weight loss is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions apply. Wegovy and Ozempic are not compounded. Actual price depends on product and plan purchased.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. They're the home of the #1 checkout on the planet and the not-so-secret Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds and Skims use. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/start selling, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/start selling to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/start selling. When was the last time you needed to go to a doctor, but you pushed it off? Made the excuse that you can't find your insurance card, or you'd rather spend the time trying a new Pilates class, or getting a manicure, or thought health advice from social media was good enough. I think we've all been there. Booking a doctor appointment can feel just so daunting. But thanks to ZocDoc, there's no reason to delay. They make it so easy to find and book a doctor who's right for you. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality, in-network doctors and click to instantly book your appointment. You can filter for doctors who take your insurance, are located nearby, and are a good fit for any medical need you may have. And with hundreds of verified patient reviews, you can find the type of care and support you're looking for. From good bedside manner to fast wait times to doctors with the best listening skills. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/female to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/female. ZocDoc.com/female.
And we are back. This week, the library is open and the girls take turns reading each other for filth. On the main stage, the girls walk the runway in their own takes on Betsey Johnson Couture. In the end, Jewel Sparkles was named the winner of the challenge, while Corey King and Lydia B. Collins were placed in the bottom two, forcing them to face off in a lip-sync battle for their lives. In the end, Lydia was told, "Shantae, you stay," while Corey King was asked to sashay away. You know, we have a new way of doing things here at Nathan Patrick Brown. So the first round of questions is, what did you think of that lip sync, and did the right queen go home?
Okay, so the lip sync.
Yeah.
I think they were always going to put the couple in the bottom two for the lip sync for a song about kissing. Like, I just think that was always going to happen, even though I don't think, like, maybe Lydia could have not been in the bottom two. Like, Anya could have been in there. Even fucking Susie too could have been in there. But this is what they were always going to do. But I loved it. I thought it was so good. I loved the kiss. I think Lydia is such a good little performer. There was probably a bit too much air guitar and air piano with Corey for my liking. So I think the right queen did go home. I think Lydia's just got that little bit more to show than Corey does. But I thought it was a good lip sync. What about you?
You know, why did I say this here? What does this mean? The elimination buildups were good. This isn't part of the lip sync, but I'll say this now anyway, because I just read the note. When you know the stupid shit RuPaul says before she names the bottom two?
Yeah.
Like, you know, Jules sparkles. Your sparkle was Jules, but your Jules didn't sparkle or whatever, right?
Yeah.
They were really good this week. I don't remember what they were.
But I
wrote another. They were actually really good. They were really funny. Okay. Yes, Jules won this hands down. I totally agree with you. You know what it was? I'll tell you what it was. And she has a good sense for this, and at least she did in this song. The way she moved, the way she danced, the way she carried herself, the way she delivered everything really captured like the 80s spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way thus captured Betsey Johnson. And Corey King wasn't really giving that, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Corey King was doing like a drag brunch style performance. And it's not a song that you could really do your, you know, your death drops and your shablams. I know they're the same thing, but I don't know what the right word is for it now. And you just couldn't do that kind of stuff. And I think Lydia B. Collins just delivered. I mean, it really felt like I was watching somebody from the 80s. She nailed it.
What'd you think of the kiss?
It's so funny because, you know, sometimes, like, I just gave a speech about how jaded I am.
Uh-huh.
But there are a few times when, like, things break through, and I genuinely beamed and smiled, and I was very, very happy.
I loved it.
I thought it was so fantastic, and I'm glad they went for it and full on went for it and gave a good show. Look, I always appreciate when a queen gives the TV viewer what they want. Yes. And the two of them, bravo to them, gave us exactly what we wanted.
And I didn't even know I wanted that because usually,
Yes.
when two drag queens kiss in like a comedy challenge, it's always so fucking terrible. Mm-hmm. So I was like, wow, good for them. It was great.
100% agree. 100% agree. Yeah, but I think we both agree. The right queen went home. I agree with you. It probably really should have been Anya versus Corey. Look, here's the deal. A design challenge like this is not going to favor black girls. Betsey Johnson is just a very white-coated designer. Okay.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah. But I'm glad they did what they did, So it was good. I'm fine with it. What was your big takeaway from this episode?
So my big takeaway is going to make me sound even more bitter and jaded because it's about Betsey Johnson. Yeah. I get that she's like an icon and she's talented and she's a good designer, rah, rah, rah. But I just think what she makes is so fucking fugly. And I just think her aesthetic is trash. And so for a design challenge to be everyone having to emulate her style, it just made everyone look awful. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not a fashion guru. I don't get it. I just thought, I thought they all looked shit.
This would have been a good one to actually ask Mr. Blackstone to be on live.
But I also didn't even think about this whole white aesthetic. Like, I don't know. Is that a common critique of her?
Oh, I don't know. I just made the critique. But what I'm going to tell you is, look, they made a big deal about Betsey Johnson being the first fashion designer to have trans models walk the runway. And up until not super recently, but kind of recently, I just thought Betsey Johnson designed for drag queens. Then I learned that she did a lot of the stuff for, I think, Sex and the City.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, I believe
that stuff's pretty.
Well, I don't need the pretty stuff. Like, I think I could be wrong. I feel like Betsey Johnson. Yeah, I know. No, I think let's see. I could be making shit up. Where's my phone?
I don't know. For half of this episode, I thought she was the one that designed the fucking flag or whatever for America.
Oops, sorry. Oh, you're talking about Betsy Ross. Oh, haha. So, I'm not going to connect this to my thing. We'll just do it here, but I'll ask Diego. I'm not going to do it like, hey, Diego, I have a question.
Hey, Joe, what's up?
Did the designer Betsey Johnson have anything to do with the television show Sex and the City?
Betsey Johnson didn't have a direct connection to Sex and the City, but her bold, eclectic style definitely shares a vibe with the fashion-forward aesthetic of the show. The series was known for its daring fashion choices.
Okay. I'm done. Thank you. I didn't know the history of Betsey Johnson right there, Okay, I was wrong. Betsey Johnson had nothing to do with Sex and the City, or I don't think she did, or anything like that. Okay. I just made shit up. You see, but we fact-checked live on air. So, okay, so go on. So you didn't like this Betsey Johnson?
No, and I feel bad saying it. I think, yeah, she's talented, but whatever. Like, I just thought they all looked terrible.
I kind of think maybe she's in her 80s. I think maybe her heyday was in the 80s.
And can I say, I think she's faking those splits.
Did you see her do the split?
No, I just saw her on the ground.
Yeah, because she basically did a fake split.
Yeah, and the skirt's covering up the back leg. So I don't know if that's bent or not.
Probably when she was able to do it, she did it one time, or I don't know. I don't know what her story with the splits are. I'm not a big Betsey Johnson historian,
I know, but she was on Drag Race maybe a couple of years ago, and she did a split walking down the runway. And I remember that being camp, and I was like, go off, sis. But now I'm like, all right, enough with the splits.
It's like a kid, a little annoying kid who does one thing funny and everyone laughs and they keep repeating it.
Yep.
And then they
Kyle
get a podcast
Richards does it
about RuPaul's Drag Race. Kyle Richards is a woman, right?
Yeah, she was renowned for always doing the splits at one of her parties every year. She's like, look, I'm in the splits again. And I'm like, all right, get up.
Yeah. Nathan's a Real Housewives expert.
Mm-hmm.
Off the air, I want to hear stories. Do you watch this Beverly Hills?
Yeah, I'm recapping it at the moment every week on Bravo, Bravo, effing Bravo.
Oh, that show I listen to every week, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about this Jennifer Tilly. Do you have thoughts on her?
Yeah, I like her.
But the other housewives don't like her, right?
So I don't think Dorit likes her. And I think Dorit's planted something with page 6 saying that everyone doesn't like her, but it's not everyone. She's best friends with Sutton. And I just think Dorit hates Sutton, so thereby Dorit hates Jennifer Tilly. Well, she's one of those people
who's like genuinely very rich.
She's got a house for like entertaining, a house just for her to live in, and a house that's empty because there's a possessed doll in it. Or a ghost. Like, she's cracked, Joe. It's
she's
quite
always
good.
Been cracked out. My big take, do I have a big take? I'll be honest with you. I had to rewatch the episodes and I didn't take any more notes than I did the first time. And I have scant notes. I don't know that I necessarily have, maybe I'll come up, I'm sorry, public feed. I don't have one of my big takeaway think pieces right now from this episode, but.
One of the things I was wondering about that I'd like to ask you is.
Yeah, sure.
I feel like a few years ago, Rue was like, really wanted a couple on the show. And it was kind of like, if you're smart, you get into a little couple, into a little showmance to prolong your time on the show. Mm-hmm. But then also now you get put in the bottom too if you're in a couple. So like, do you think it is a benefit for these queens to self-produce themselves into being a couple or having showmances or making plots, or like, is there no point?
I think if you do it wisely, you can extend it, like a will they, won't they. The problem is the girls sort of sabotaged Lydia and Corey by asking like, okay, girls, what is the tea? And so then once they spilled the tea, they were like, okay, well, we have everything where this is going to go.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think when you get in a showmance, ultimately it's going to doom one of your chances in the show, because a showmance going into the final 4 or final 3 is not as interesting. So they're going to want to see you guys pitted against each other on the main stage. So yeah, that's it. There you go. On that note, public feed, stick around. You're going to get a curated version of the show. And so while you untuck in the Afterthought Lounge, Nathan and I will sit here and deliberate this episode. All right. After the elimination, the girls say goodbye to Acacia Forgot and playfully tease each other about their placements on the competition. Sam gloats while some of the other girls simply long for a win. The next day, RuPaul enters the workroom to introduce this week's mini challenge. The library is open and the girls take turns reading each other. In the end, Susie Toot is named the winner of this season's mini challenge. Next, RuPaul announces this week's maxi challenge. The queens must design a look based on one of 3 Betsey Johnson collections. As the winner of the mini challenge, Susie earned the privilege to choose her look first. Then she chose the next queen and went down the line. Lydia surprised everyone when she didn't choose Corey to succeed her. In the end, the looks were as follows. There were 3 different looks. One was punk grunge flappers, and that was Susie, Lydia, and Jules. Second was prenup, and that was Lexi, Sam, and Arietti. And finally, we have number 3 was Betsey's prom, and that was Lana, Anya, and Corey. All right. Nathan, let's take this piece by piece. After the elimination, everything that comes in, they're saying goodbye to Acacia. Sam gloats and does like a pageant speech, and there's a fake friends, fake fighting thing between her and Arietti. Any thoughts here on this moment? Anything that was super interesting to you? Anything that stuck out to you?
Well, you just made it sound way more interesting than I thought it was, because it was really just like a bunch of queens being like, I want another win, or I want to win. And that's about all it was. And then even the next day, they're like, so who do we think's going to win? And it's like they've got nothing else to talk about.
Well, it's the problem that the show has, which is, and I don't remember what part of the episode it was today. And I think, who was it? Was it Lexi or somebody that says like, being completely cunty about it, but like, oh, I miss Joella. Right?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, cunt, we all miss Joella because she and Hormona and all these other people were the only things that were interesting. We got rid of the interesting people, and now all you boring assholes are the only ones here.
Yeah.
And so they have nothing to talk about. They're empty-headed people. They're empty. There's not one. Susie might be the only one left that's kind of, and Anya. Susie and Anya are the only ones that are kind of interesting, but they're smart enough just to not say stupid shit on TV. Kind of.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was a little funny that Corey, like, everyone's aiming for a win, and Corey's like, yeah, I'd love a win, or at least good critiques. Like, she's aiming for at least something positive to be said about her, and it doesn't eventuate the poor dear, but, you know, good for her for not aiming that high.
I had no notes originally. The only note I have now was Lydia in confessional, why can't I think of the word? What's the foreshadowing? What's to come? She says that every week he keeps getting sadder and sadder, and that she's glad that Corey's still around. I'm like, oh, this bitch doesn't know she's going to be the one setting home Corey this week. But that's the only note I have here. I'm like you. All right, let's go to the next day. You're right. There's not a lot of interesting chitter chatter. Is that a word? Jibber jabber chatter? I don't know. Before RuPaul walks in, they do the mini challenge. It's a reading challenge. I want to hear your take on this reading challenge.
On first watch, I thought, it's pretty all right. On second watch, I was like, oh, it's not as good as I thought it was the first time. And I guess that's just because, you're hearing the jokes twice.
Yeah.
I don't think Susie was the best. I think they showed, 4 of her jokes, and they seemed pretty average to me. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, Anya was a bit funnier. What was it?
The one that... something about Lexi being one step closer to something when it was 12 steps.
Yeah. But is Lexi known for being an alcoholic?
I don't know. And then they made a lot of Lexi alcoholism jokes. And I was like,
yeah.
Is she an alcoholic? I don't know.
I'm struggling to remember their backstories. I don't know which ones dad blew themselves up with fireworks. Which one doesn't have a spine? I know the stories, but I forgot who's who.
Dad blowing up with fireworks was she went home already. I think she went home that episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't remember her. She was one of the Latina girls. The one everyone was sad about. She left. I think, yeah.
The one that did the fun looks.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So, the thing that I took away, I actually thought, look, I have seen some reading challenges that are really, really bad. This is, just to me was, from what they showed us, the girls did their homework. It was a solid effort. There were a couple of clunkers, but there were a couple seasons in a row where it was really, really bad. Really bad. Nathan Brown, you're a tall glass of water. Lori Roggenkamp, you're so white, you have good credit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they were that.
Yeah, so the fact that they actually had jokes, that they had punchlines. Look, here's what I think. A lot of these jokes were so general that it was just they came in with them prepared. And they were like, okay, I'm going to give the padding one to this one, and the alcoholism one to Lex one, and the old one to this one, and all this stuff. But I appreciate being prepared. I'll be honest with you.
But then you can be over-prepared, like Corey, because she was like, I love to shake my cup, which is a reference to her talent show that no one remembers, her song.
Oh, is that what it was?
I think because didn't she have a song about, the sound ice makes when you're shaking a cup? That was her talent show.
Oh,
it's did she think that would really catch on in the culture and then that would be a catchphrase?
That is, she's like this Lana Del Rey, yeah, where, they think everyone's thinking about them all the time and knows everything about them. Oh, I didn't know. I even said I thought, because I didn't remember this, that she did a thing where it's almost like a straw man argument, but for jokes, where she's like, you know how I'm always shaking my cup? Well, Lydia is too because she's poor. And you're like, what?
What?
And I was like, look, because she was shaking her cup. She's like, oh, there's me shaking my cup. But Lydia shakes her cup because she's homeless.
And she clearly brought the cup on to do the reading challenge. And then she was stuck holding a cup for the rest of that scene. Even picking the materials and stuff, she was still holding that fucking cup.
Yeah. And I was like, that's crazy.
I didn't like Lana's one, but they all seemed in the room to go fucking apeshit over it, where she's like, you remind me of my favorite Batman character, Two-Face, which just seems pretty basic.
It's funny that you say, I have this here too. Is RuPaul says in the grand tradition, and she says in the grand tradition, and they are so fucking excited. They're like Chino, your dog, when he hears the can opener opening the dog food, right?
Yeah.
They are like so excited, jumping up and down, and then they go out and give, like, for the most part, the most reading challenge of all time. Look, don't get me wrong, it was solid, it was fine, you know. But it was like the way they were so excited. I was like, it's not like anyone had any. I can't even think of one that was a really good zinger.
And
maybe
then
the 12 steps one. What I remember Anya's. Anya's was good. I remember.
Anya's was good, but I don't remember them. And now you've got Susie just being like bringing up that she didn't win Snatch Game again, but now she's like equating this as like, you know, worth a win. Because she won the reading challenge. That's compensation for her bombing Snatch Game. It's like, what? Like, it's not that important.
Again, they sit in this hotel room all day thinking and thinking and thinking. And they're like, everyone's thinking about me. Everyone is just always thinking about me. All right. Well, we've covered the look. So now it's time that we bring back my girls. All right, back on the main stage, Lydia B. Collins was named the winner of the challenge, while No, she wasn't. Okay, back on the main stage, Jules Sparkles was named the winner of the challenge, while Lydia B. Collins and Corey King were placed in the bottom two, forcing them to face off in a lip-sync battle for their lives. The song, Kiss Me Deadly by Lita Ford. In the end, Lydia lived to see another day, while Corey King was asked to sashay away. Nathan Patrick Brown, any final thoughts on the episode?
I'm happy for Jules. I think she deserved the win. And I like when in a season, the wins are a bit more spread out. And it's not just like someone had 4 or another person had 4 and no one else has anything. And it was sort of getting into that territory where everyone was going to get like 3 wins or, you know, the race to be the first queen with 3 wins. So it's good to throw Jules a bone and make a bit of a more even playing ground. And then there was also a really weird moment after the critiques. I don't know if you noticed this, where Betsey, she's like, oh, I'm so touched and grateful. And Ru's like, oh no, Betsey, you've got an amazing body of work and that should be commended. Like everyone's invited under the Betsey Ross tent. And then he goes,
Betsey
and
Johnson.
I'd love to get married in that big veil and I'd like to get divorced in it too. As if it was like part of Lexi's critique, but it was after the critiques. And they just spliced that in. And then Ru goes,
I didn't notice it.
Yeah, and so Ru makes that joke, I think, about Lexi's dress, and then goes, silence, even though he was the one talking. So he was silencing himself. Like, it was some really bad editing in that section. And, like, I had to, like, rewind it and be like, what? Did that just happen? And I couldn't track it.
They have done that before where she says silence herself after she's talked. But, yeah. That's a very good final thought. I did not pick up on that. Now, I was going to say I should rewatch it, but I'm never going to rewatch it. I'll be honest with you. This is not... I'll be happy. I'll be shocked if I remember this season next season.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And
well, you couldn't even remember Corey King's famous talent show, Shake That Cup.
Like, I don't even remember Willow Pill's season.
Ooh, yeah, I don't know who else was on that season.
I have all the notes. You know, I save all these things. I should go back and read the scripts and see if I remember any of it. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Recap. Be sure to join us next week and every week as we continue to discuss, dissect, and deconstruct each brand new episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 17. So for Nathan Patrick Brown and myself,
sashay away till next week and fuck it up.
Thank you for listening to Drag Race Recap. Have something to say? Leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/afterthoughtmedia. You can also email us at dragracerecap@afterthought.media. For more Drag Race and LGBTQ+ content, support us over at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia. This podcast was produced by Luke Stamen. You can follow Nathan Brown over on Instagram at NathanBrown90. Follow Joe Batance on Instagram at Joe Batance. Special thanks to these expensive tier Patreon supporters: April Pacheco, Astute Girl, Brad Coley, Derek Byers, Doofus Maximus, E. Smith, Effie Wap, Emma, Phil Skit Pony, Blind Suki, Humble Pie, J. Thomas Plank, Kathy Zender, Katie Whitmire, Lauren Eckert, Lucy Carrasco, Luke Stamen, Mary S., Mike Yeager, Nikki Baker, Nikki Pettit, Polly, Poppy Woods, Ricardo Herrera, Runner Brandon, Sarah Yu, Tom Bombs, Travi Cosmos, and Troy Anderson. Drag Race Recap is an Afterthought Media podcast.